Sometimes, life has a way of giving us exactly what we ask for, but not always what we truly need. It's a bit like asking for rain when what you really need is sunshine. There's a lesson tucked away in that, and it's something we see quite clearly in the story of Samuel. Imagine this with me. You're a parent. You've raised your kids the best you could, taught them truth, showed them love, disciplined them when needed. But then one day they walk up and say, "We don't want you in charge anymore. We'd rather have someone else. Someone who looks more impressive, like the people next door." That's a glimpse into what happened in 1 Samuel chapter 8. Samuel was now an old man. He had served faithfully for years. But his sons, they didn't follow in his footsteps. They took bribes. They twisted justice. And so the elders of Israel came to Samuel with a demand, "Give us a king. We want to be like the other nations." Now stop there for a second. Did you catch that? They didn't just want better leadership. They wanted to blend in, to look like everyone else. And that's the heart of the problem. Now, God wasn't against kings in general. He had actually spoken through Moses about how kings should behave, in Deuteronomy chapter 17, verses 14 through 20. But what really broke his heart, and Samuel's as well, was their reason. They said, "We want to be like the nations." They were, in a sense, trading their identity as God's special people for the glitter of worldly approval. So what did Samuel do? Well, he prayed. And what did God say? "They have not rejected you, Samuel. They have rejected me." That's heavy. And honestly, it's a reminder we all need. When we push God out to make room for something that seems more modern, more comfortable, or maybe just more fun, we're not just changing plans. We're changing allegiance. Still, God allowed it. That's, I think, one of the scariest things he sometimes does. He lets us have what we insist on, even if it will hurt us. Like the father in Luke chapter 15, who let his son walk away with his inheritance, knowing full well it would end in a pigsty. Samuel warned the people. He said, "Here's what your king will do. He'll take your sons for his army, your daughters for his kitchens, your land, your vineyards, your servants, all claimed by him. One day you'll cry out because of this king, and the Lord will not hear you." But the people didn't care. No, they said, "We still want a king." So God gave them Saul. Now, Saul's introduction in chapter 9 is, interesting. He wasn't doing anything heroic. He was out looking for some lost donkeys, a lowly job, really. But this moment, this humble start, was exactly what made Saul look like a good choice. He wasn't proud or power-hungry. He was tall, yes, and handsome. But he was also hesitant. When Samuel anointed him, he didn't boast. When the time came to publicly present him as king, he was hiding in the baggage. What a picture of humility. In fact, Saul's early story gives us two crucial lessons about leadership and life. First, humility is the best way to begin. Saul didn't push himself forward. He listened to Samuel. He trusted God's word. And like all great beginnings, it started small. Jesus himself said, "Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted," as we see in Matthew chapter 23, verse 12. Second, a good start is not enough. Just because you start well doesn't mean you'll finish well. Saul began with promise, but over time pride crept in. He became obsessed with power, insecure about praise, and blind to his own rebellion. The man who once hid among the bags would later cling to his throne like a man drowning. This should hit home for us. Many Christians start with fire in their bones, zeal in their hearts, but somewhere along the way, comfort replaces commitment and pride chokes out prayer. That's why Paul said, "I discipline my body, lest after preaching to others I myself should become disqualified," as it's written in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 27. Let's not forget what happened next in 1 Samuel chapter 10. God confirmed Saul's calling. He gave him another heart, not a robot heart, but a heart prepared for the responsibility ahead. Saul prophesied with the prophets. People were shocked. Is Saul also among the prophets, they asked. That's what happens when God prepares someone for his purposes. He gives them what they need, not just outwardly, but inwardly. But you know, the choice to remain faithful, that still belongs to us. As Saul was introduced to the nation, Samuel also gave them a book, a written explanation of the king's duties. It was likely based on Deuteronomy chapter 17. The king was supposed to read God's law daily, stay humble, obey carefully, and never lift himself above his brothers. Had Saul followed that book, the story might have ended differently. Friend, we live in a time not unlike Samuel's. Many today are crying out, "Give us a king." Maybe not in words, but in actions. We want what the world has. We want their entertainment, their approval, their freedoms. Give us that, and we'll be happy. But God still speaks through his word. And you know, his message hasn't changed. You were not made to fit in with the world. You were made to shine as lights in it, as it says in Philippians chapter 2, verse 15. You were not meant to follow trends. You were meant to follow truth. The real king has come, not Saul, not David, not Solomon, but Jesus Christ. The one who never sinned, the one who rules in righteousness, the one who still invites you to follow him, not for the applause of the crowd, but for the glory of God and the salvation of your soul. So I'll end with this. When the world calls out, "Give us a king," will you answer with Saul or with Christ? The choice is yours.